welcome to my knitting channel. I have a few things to show you and an exciting pattern that I have finished and is ready for you guys to test, whoever wants to, as well as a new project about to be in the works that I'm very excited about. So I guess the first thing is what I'm wearing, and this is the Swiss tee by me, and I have finally finished the pattern, and I actually sent it to a couple of friends to check out first, and they've given me a lot of really good feedback, and now I am ready to send it out to whoever wants to test it. Ideally, I would like at least one test knitter for each size, and ideally two. And my sizes, I've definitely expanded the size range for this top as compared to my Elizabeth Bennett linen tee, and I do hope to revisit that one actually really soon. So this one comes from extra small all the way up to 2XL. So that's extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, and then 2XL. So that's 6 sizes. So I'm hoping to have 12 test knitters, 2 of each size. So if you're interested in any of that, I don't have my sizes in front of me, but I know the extra small is a 30-inch bust, and then I can't remember the exact dimensions of the 2XL, but I can put that in the description box below, and as well as some other information about the yarn. This particular one I'm wearing now, and I'll probably put up some pictures too, is the I Love Cotton from Hobby Lobby, and it is a kind of a worsted weight cotton yarn. It creates kind of a little more structure than the Knit Picks Comfy Fingering yarn version, and it is not as see-through. You have the eyelets, of course, but then the stockinette section is a thick enough fabric to where it's not, that part's not see-through. On the other hand, I have the one that I just finished. This is the short sleeve version that I'm wearing. It just has a drop shoulder and then the little ribbing for a small sleeve. And then the long sleeve version is, still need to weave in my ends on some of it. I thought I did that. I guess I didn't finish. You can knit it out of the thicker cotton yarn, or you can knit it out of a thinner yarn. This is knit out of Knit Picks Comfy Fingering yarn, and it is a fingering weight yarn, whereas this is more of a worsted weight yarn. And it's knit in the same gauge. It's just a much looser fabric when you knit it. It's much airier, and you can see that because you can actually see through it in the light. So this one has a lot of flow and drape to it, and it's just lighter and thinner. Whereas this one has a little bit more structure to it, and it's not quite as thin and lightweight. I like them both, but they both feel kind of different based on the different yarns. I have information on my yarn choices as well as as well as the sizes and stuff down below. And if you're interested in testing this pattern, just shoot me an email. My email is down below as well. And I can't wait to have some testers and to see the color choices and yarn choices that you make. I think that Knit Picks Lindy Chain or Kestrel's, Quince & Company Kestrel's linen yarn, both would also be a good choice for this type of project for summer. What else was I going to say? I don't know what else I have to say about this other than I hope you guys like it as much as I do, and I can't wait for you guys to test it. So, on to the next item, which, this is something else I am wearing. I have a bunch of finished objects and only one work in progress. And if you hear snoring in the background, it is my little dog. He's asleep and he snores. It's pitiful. What else? Oh, forgot to introduce myself. I am Gabie. I am a mom of 3. I homeschool and have a wonderful husband, a dog, and a couple of cats and other critters that my daughter brings home. And I love to knit, and I am an amateur aspiring knitwear designer. My current goal for my knitting patterns is, of course, that people love them and wear them and knit them, of course. But in terms of selling my patterns, my only goal is to buy more yarns that I can knit. So it's slowly working. I've been able to buy a little bit of yarn off of my pattern sales, but not much yet. I don't have as much time as I would like to dedicate to knitting and pattern design because I have 3 kids, 11 down to 6. So that takes up a good amount of my time. But knitting is such a great hobby that you can just pick up and put down, and I think that's part of the reason I fell in love with it. So on to more knitting. I think I showed you guys scrunchies. I don't know if it's last time or the time before, but I made another one. This one I made a little smaller. And the pattern that I am loosely following, I like to modify everything I do, I think. The pattern I am loosely following is Quince & Company's free scrunchie pattern. So I made a dark one. This is out of acrylic yarn. It's worsted weight. And then I made the basic scrunchie and added a bow. And this is for my daughter. One of my daughters. My 6-year-old likes this one a lot. So I thought that turned out kind of cute. Like I said, I used Quince & Company's free pattern for the scrunchie, the main scrunchie. And then for the bow, all I did was create a rectangle out of garter stitch. And I made this part up on my own. And then I sewed on that rectangle here and pinched it. So in the middle, I just sewed it on to the scrunchie while pinching it together to make that the look of a bow. And I used garter stitch because I knew it wouldn't curl up. So it's just a side-to-side garter rectangle that I squished in the middle and sewed together. I thought it turned out really cute, and it looks cute in her hair. And these are great summer projects because you don't have a big amount of wool or something in your lap. And this is also acrylic yarn that I just had in my stash, and it is a worsted weight. So there's that. And I have another finished object. This podcast is full of finished objects. I love it. So the time before last, I think, I showed you my Camisole number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I told you that I had run out of yarn. And I was toying with the idea of using my avocado dyed yarn, and that is what I ended up sticking with. So the yarn for this pattern, I made size medium. I am like a 34 maybe bust. This is a size medium, but I have to say the yarn I used is probably a thin fingering weight yarn, and I have not checked my gauge on this finished object to see if it is identical to the pattern. I love the, it's very basic knit until you get to the bust, and she has the way the decreases go, and I just like kind of this simple, I guess, geometric or architectural way that it shapes the garment. It's kind of neat. So I ran out of yarn here, and then I added my avocado dyed yarn, and that is a stroll yarn. It was a stroll bear yarn from Knit Picks that I dyed in avocado. I ended up also modifying the back. So I had live stitches here held while I finished the front up to here. So then I attached, because you're supposed to continue knitting this, I think similar to the front. So then I added I kind of faded it in a little bit. I added my new yarn and I knit down the back, and then I attached it. I did an I-cord bind off on those live stitches instead of knitting it up the back. So it just adds a nice edging and kind of a decorative edging with that new yarn I have. And I just made it kind of blend into the side here. This is under the arm. So I think it turned out fine. When I blocked it, the stroll stretched a little more than I expected, I guess. And I had measured it or knit it to fit me well before I blocked it. And then of course these little straps stretched out a bit, so it's a little bit lower in the front than I would like. So I might go back and shorten the strap just like maybe an inch at most on both straps. But all in all, I like it, and I'm excited to wear it, especially under like a cardigan or something. I'll try to take some pictures and put them up. But here's the front of my, what is this called? Camisole number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, Knit and Hypothesis Yarns, Atlas colorway, merino nylon, along with some avocado dyed yarn. And that brings me to my next whip. My next whip is another one of these, and I forgot to bring it in here, so I will go get it. So I decided to knit another Camisole number 2 by My Favorite Things, and I'm using leftover yarn that I had from my Sunset Highway sweater. I did a episode on that one, I don't know, 3 or 4 episodes ago. This is the yarn, it's Hawthorne yarn by Knit Picks, and it's one of their speckles. It's super fun, and when I purchased it, I wasn't sure if I would like all of the orange in it, because it has some very bright orange colors in there. But after knitting with it and seeing it like in the whole body of my sweater, I loved it. I loved all the little specks of orange, and I think that knit up, it mutes those bright orange specks a little bit more. So I did the band and started the 3x3 rib. So I haven't gotten very far. I'm doing something a little bit different with it this time. I'm actually intentionally knitting it small and short. I'm trying to make like a bralette to wear as kind of a comfortable camisole that's not as warm, because it won't go all the way down to my waist. It'll be more of a bralette. We'll see if I end up wearing it or how much I wear it. But I like the idea of it and I like the color. So we'll see what happens with this project and how much I wear it in the end. And also how far my yarn will go. But I think if I run out of this, I could easily add like a natural white wool to it. And it would be fine. Because it has a very large amount of plain off-white natural wool color to it. So that's my work in progress. I have my super cute stitch marker on here of my little teapot. And this is just a very fun summery color. And I really needed something else to work on because I finished all my main projects and I wasn't ready to jump into my next big project that I'm about to talk about because I just needed something I could jump into and easily and quickly start, like for TV knitting. I have to have some type of like mindless TV knitting. And this is, for the most part, not too bad. So that is my work in progress. And then I have a work in almost progress, you could say. Back in my yarn haul video I did, I don't know, probably after Christmas, I think I showed you guys this pack of yarn that I got. I have now hand wound all 7 of my 20 gram, not 20 gram, are they 20 gram? I think they're 200 yards a piece. So I can't remember how many grams they are. I can tell you right now. There's 7 skeins and 1,400 yards. So they're 200 yards a piece. I cannot remember how many grams that is. I feel like it's 50 gram skeins. Anyways, so I hand wound them all and put them in this lovely little bowl. I figured a mixing bowl kind of makes sense because you mix them all together and out pops the sweater. I love this one, and I love all of them. I am debating, look at this one. It's got like gray mixed with like a kind of a maroonish undertone. Oops, there it goes. The problem with balls of yarn is they really roll. And that bright yellow, it's gonna pop. And this has like all of those colors mixed in with it. So I am so excited to knit with these. Again, there goes my yarn. But again, I have a little thing, it's Zen Yarn Garden. I purchased it on Zulily. And here's the little tag. You can see it. It is a rainbow color set, 100% superfine superwash merino. It is called, this particular set is called Banana Split, which kind of makes sense because you have this yellow banana-ish color in it. And it is a fingering weight yarn, 1,400 yards, 7 skeins, hand wash only. So I did attempt to do a little bit of a swatch to kind of get an idea of how this would knit up in a colorwork sweater, because that is what I'm thinking that I will do, is some type of colorwork sweater. And I know that the yellow is kind of bright, and there's a good amount of contrast in here. But I think that once you knit it all together and all, it's going to be really cool. And I don't think it's going to be, like, I don't think that yellow is going to be obnoxious in it at all. I think all of the colors will work together really well. So I'm excited about that. And I knit it on probably larger sizes than maybe what's recommended for a fingering weight yarn. I feel like this is kind of a plump fingering weight, unlike this Hypothesis yarns is kind of the opposite. It is a thin fingering weight. These are size 5s, and I think that it turned out fine. Like it's not too, I don't feel like it's too open or anything. I think it created a nice fabric. And my guess is that when it's washed, it might bloom and kind of plump even more. So we'll see. So my big debate is, what do I knit? I considered making my own pattern, but I have, this pattern that's about to be tested, and then I have my Elizabeth Bennet linen tee that I want to revamp and expand my sizes on that one. And then I have my sleeveless linen top that I want to finish the pattern writing for that and publish that. So I have a lot of patterns in the works, and I kind of wanted one that I could just follow and not think about, I guess. Just, follow what somebody else has already put in the hard work for. So I compiled a list of the things I am considering. Now, a number of them, some of them are not fingering weight, but I feel like I might be able to do it anyways, like maybe knit a size up. And like I said, I use size 5s, and I think that works fine with this yarn in a color work. So I'm thinking that I might get away with knitting one of these sweaters that's not even a fingering weight sweater. We'll see. It could be an epic failure. Y'all will have to stay tuned and see if I fail or succeed, depending on which one I choose. So I think my front runner, in terms of the look of it, is the Lady Finger Sweater by Morgan Waltersdorf. I have never heard of her before, but I was perusing the patterns, and I came across it, and I thought it was really cute. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it before. Let's see if I can make this nice and big. So I thought it was really cute, and I thought that it would go well with my yarns, because I have like the multicolored yarn, and I have multiple colors that all work together. Now this is only 5 colors, and I have 7. However, I think that I could just modify it in terms of colors, and it would be just fine. It looks very simple. Not only the pattern looks simple, but the like the working with the colors, I think would be simple to change it a little bit. Let's see. Let me show you one more of hers. So it's another photo of it. I like the kind of simple geometric look to it. It feels modern, I guess. But this one is 22 stitches for 4 inches in stockinette stitch. So I'll have to measure mine. I don't think I measured my little mini swatch, and it's a very tiny swatch, so I probably should do it a little bigger to see how far off I am. Okay, and the next one I was thinking about is the Shifty by Andrea Mowry. I am sure you guys have seen this one before. At least I'm sure most of you guys have anyways, because it's been around for a little bit. I am not sure that I love this pattern or not. I am very curious to knit a pattern like this, because I think it's mosaic knitting rather than color work or stranded knitting. But I'm afraid that I don't know, I'm afraid that it looks like a stiff fabric in a lot of the pictures, and I don't want a stiff sweater. I like a slightly like drapier sweater, but of course I haven't seen it in person, so I don't really know. If you guys have knit this sweater, please chime in and let me know if your fabric is very thick and stiff, excuse me, or if it is, or if it feels good. And let's see, this one, okay, this one is 30.5 stitches for 4 inches in the mosaic pattern. So that is a big difference. I will definitely have to look at my my swatch. And she uses size 4 needles. So, I don't know. I also would want to modify my sleeves, and I have 1,400 yards with this, and I feel like I might be cutting it close with that Andrea Mowry Shifty sweater. I think the same thing here. She calls for, this is the stone crop cardigan. She calls for size 5 needles, but 1,200 to 2,900 yards. So I could run out of yarn for this. But I think it's definitely knit out of fingering weight. I like it. However, I'm not sure I want to do all these bobbles. If you look at this, it has a number of rows that are bobbles. I feel like that might be a little bit of a pain, and I'm not sure I want that texture on my garment or not. And then I tend to enjoy a slightly looser garment, and this is very fitted, and I'm not sure that that is my style, but I think I would need to make it fitted in order to not run out of yarn. Y'all know I have a problem with running out of yarn. Let's see, my next thought, or potential, my last one, is the Jupiter crop top by Caitlin Hunter, Boyland Knitworks. You know, I like her patterns. Jupiter, I believe, is that chicken she is holding, or rooster. And I guess it's supposed to look like feathers or something. I think it's a pretty top, and the colors are nice, the way she has it. It's kind of, I think it's fairly basic color work, although I know at least part of it you hold 3 yarns, or you work with 3 yarns at the same time. And the other thing is that it's very cropped, but I could make it longer, but it's also tapered into your waist. And again, I'm not sure if comfort-wise, if I'm going to love that. Again, I like a little bit of room and just comfort, and to know that like I don't always have to suck in my gut. And I'm not sure if I would like this with like jeans, and I wear more jeans than dresses. And I feel like this could be more of a, like she's wearing it. I love how she's wearing it, and it makes me want to do it just to look like that, but in reality, I don't know that I would wear skirts and dresses, which would be the ideal like look for this sweater. I don't know. I am open to opinions. It is a pretty sweater. I think right now I'm leaning towards the very first one, and part of it's because I've never knit anything by this woman, Morgan Waltersdorf, the Lady Fingers sweater. So I'm just kind of curious to knit by a new designer, and I think it's I think it's just kind of a cute modern pattern. She did knit hers cropped, but it's wide. I think it's kind of similar to this one. I don't know if she's lengthened the back of it at all, which is something that I would like, because I really kind of like in this one I have the high-low hem, because I don't like it when my shirt's right up in the back. So let me know your opinion and what you guys think, and I will do a better swatch and see what knitting needle size I can use in color work, and also see how far off my gauge is when I use the needles recommended. I think that is it. Again, I will say, if you're interested in knitting this for free, at least for the pattern for free, and testing it for me, I would love that. The only thing I really require is just give me your feedback, let me know your opinions or if you found any mistakes, as well as just a finished object photo. I think that is it. I hope that everyone is well, and I continue to pray for our nation, and I continue to pray for healing, and just that God would move in this nation, in people's hearts, and that love would overflow. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and it's been wonderful to talk to you about knitting. I hope it brought a bright spot in your day, and that you gain joy and peace from knitting like I do. Bye!